Dr.
Listen, you did a suspiciously good job saying my first name. Are you a KGB by any chance? Anyways, if somebody is old enough here to understand what KGB is or was, well, I'm obviously Heinz 57 from the former Soviet Union. But let me first tell you that this is the first time I'm actually surrounded by my own gender. In the Pentagon, meetings are very, very different. And so I'm used to a totally different atmosphere. And I'm here and I'm thinking, did I die? I just went to heaven and didn't even notice it? So let me tell you, my very first meeting I was an international relations advisor on was on intercontinental ballistic missiles. And I remember very well, like Russians were telling Americans, you know guys, we can blow the whole globe up 52 times. And Americans say, and we can blow it up about 53 or 54 times. And I remember very well, I was sitting at that table and I'm thinking, guys, these are not toys, you know. You know, one would be enough to blow us up. One, you know, not 54 times. And I thought, this is it, I'm bailing out of here. I cannot talk to them about anything. And so I'm looking at this room and I'm thinking, maybe this is the future for globalization. Because blowing each other up 54 times will not work. So at one of my conferences, classified conferences on missile surveillance, I thought, well, too few women in the audience. I think a good mix of women would really, really help it. So now I would really love to help women to actually globalize and understand how to do it well. One of the key components in how you do it well is actually how you adjust to cultures, understand cultures, feel them, and know how to operate in them. And of course I will not be able to tell you too much about it right now, but I will start the topic. Let me first tell you about my very first impressions of the United States. I was a clean experiment. I came to the United States with 0 cents and $0. You can see I cannot move because my heels are so high I can barely stand. So please bear with me. No, seriously. So this is not a classified conference on missile surveillance, so I can talk about heels. Well, this is wonderful. But in any case, I come, and I was a clean experiment, never saw American money, never had $0, 0 cents in my pockets. So it's a typical American story, and I would love to tell you about that, but I think my MC will throw me off the stage. So I come, and I am booked very heavily for speaking engagements at schools. And I remember very well that I got madder and madder and madder. And one morning, I was eating eggs for breakfast, and my host comes and he says, you know what, you need to grab your breakfast and get in the car. I said, grab your breakfast and get in the car? Are you nuts? I mean, I'm not done eating yet. And the host says, grab your breakfast and get in the car. So I get my eggs, sunny side up, and I get coffee, get in the car, and the car just lurches forward. The eggs go sunny side down in my lap, and then the car stops at the stoplight, and the coffee gets spilled all over me, and I'm thinking, and this is America, the land of paradise? Forget it, these people eat in the car. I don't want that, that's a foreign culture. I don't want this speed of life, forget it, I want to slow down. My cultural time doesn't allow anything like that. Well, guess what? Here's the moral of the story. Number one, you never know your culture, you don't know your timing, your sense of time, your sense of operational activities until you actually get in contact with another culture, and only then you will understand that you have your own culture. That's number one. Number two, as foreign as it seems to you, years will pass, maybe not even years, sometimes even shorter than that, and it will become so natural to you. Now I can curl my eyelashes at the stoplight. Darn it, I would love to meet that host and say, did you see me curling my eyelashes? I match American time now. So that's number two. There is a moral number three. here where we are, we Americans, citizens of the United States, please raise your hands. Okay, so there are quite a few of you. For decades, United States was an unmatched country. It was the leader in the world. Now, other cultures, other nations are catching up. And I think that as of right now, many of us secretly think, what's in it for us? Where are we? What are we to do? What's in our future? How do we proceed? How will our country be successful in the future? Is there any chance our country will continue to be the leader in the world? Are you interested in what I think about it? Here's what I would like to say. It is true. We cannot outwork Japanese. We cannot out-memorize Chinese. We cannot outdress Italians. And we cannot out-math Indians. It's true. It's true. Let's face it. That's how it is. Are you showing me how much time? No, it's my boss, time boss. Okay, I'm from a polychronic culture. I cannot count time. So, but let me continue and tell you something about that, if I may. But here's what we have going for us. United States of America, American national character is a very, very unique character if it doesn't forget what it is. And here's what it is. Number one, Americans have a fundamental, in their blood, in their cells, understanding of justice and equality among people everywhere. That's number one. And this is literally in the blood of an American. I checked it. Actually, didn't do blood analysis, but nevertheless, I have my own methods. Number two, Americans have fundamental empathy to other people. They do understand that people are equal, and therefore they want everybody else to be as successful as they themselves are. This is a wonderful quality. Number three, Americans are very effective by nature. They strive to become more and more effective. I am telling this to Americans because Americans do not know it in themselves. They need to see others to understand it in themselves. But as a cultural analyst, I can tell you that that is the fact. The next point, Americans cannot understand any part of the word no. It's just not in the national character. They really don't understand. We jaded Europeans are looking at them and saying, people, you're not for real. I mean, you are overly optimistic. In fact, unbridled optimism of American national character is amazing. In fact, we jaded people from other cultures look at Americans as clinical idiots. And these clinical idiots obviously did not know that they couldn't do it, so they kind of did it. Of course, these are very positive sides of American national character. So is it true? What do you think? My fellow Americans, tell me, yes or no? And you might not even know it in yourselves, but I can tell you that that is true. And we, people from outside of the United States, now I'm siding with outside of the United States, we see it in you. So, if Americans capitalize on these very basic parts of their national character, they will never fail. But there are a lot of things going against it. TV, well, I'm not going to talk about McDonald's because McDonald's is basically good because in Moscow, Russia, I always go to McDonald's so that I could prove to myself that I have my American passport. And nevertheless, if we choose to capitalize on our positive sides rather than negative sides, that's it. We will win. No matter what culture it is, no matter how little we understand that culture, life will get us through. Let me tell you one more thing. Nevertheless, we will have to learn somehow, and we will train you in the Global Academy if you come to us. And how many minutes? 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. And so I will be quicker. So if we want to understand cultures, it is possible to do it. And let me run a very short experiment so that I could show to you how cultures can be understood in a reasonably short amount of time and how deep they actually run. Those of you who are Americans born in the United States, raise your hand. Okay, let me ask you a question. When you were growing up, did your parents tell you, it is your job as you grow up to find yourself and find what you like to do and be the best you can do. That's number one. Just one moment. Let me give you a second option. Or the second option is your job as you grow up to become the most ideal member of your family, even, and that's a silent part, even if it compromises you finding your own personal happiness. So what was American choice? Number one or number two? Tell me. Number one, okay. Now, where is Maya from Greece? Oh, Maya from Greece. So tell me, when you were growing up, was it number one or number two? Say it loud. Number one or number two? Number two. Okay. Adele from Kenya, where are you? Adele, poor Adele, being tortured all the time by us, continuously making you to stand up. Very quickly, please stand up and tell me, what was the most important thing for your father? Was it most important to reach his own well-being and happiness and express himself, or be the best member of the community? Number one and number two? Number two. So do you see, number one and number two are present in each human life, but the leading principle in the culture is either number one or number two. By number one, a whole other consequences come into play that will define your culture. If it's number two, a whole number of consequences will come into your life that will define your cultural background. And when two meet, they do not know the difference between each other, but it will play in their business activities, in their management procedures, and in everything else they are going to encounter. So, 1 minute left or done? 3 minutes left. Boy, I have a lot of time by American standards. So, let me tell you, by American standards only. By Russian standards, I will only wake up and move one leg. So let me ask you another question. How many of you want to go international? And let's say global. Raise your hands. Here's my advice to you, my fellow Americans and my fellow global citizens. You are already global, whether you know it or not. You go as global as you can possibly get. Do not be afraid of any complications. All of them are solvable. And always, always, always find some unique parts of your culture that actually allow you to thrive. And now let me ask you a question. Jen from Kenya, where are you? Oh, here you are. Jen, you are from Kenya. Please stand up. Please forgive me that I'm making you stand up. We both have red. No, I have hot pink. Never mind. So tell me, Jen, what is your first impression of America? Is it your first time? Your second time? Tell me, when you're going back home, what do you think? Is it difficult for you to say, well, here they are in this wonderful room, and here I am, turning back, packing my suitcases, flying to Kenya, and I will have to fight with life very, very hard. Do you think anything like that? Ever? You do. So, and I'm talking about it because these are my secret thoughts. For many, many years, I will cross the ocean, and I will be checking my American passport 1 million times when I arrive to Russia, because I wouldn't, and I do not want to offend Russia. It's my biological mother. It's my biological mom, and my adoptive mom is the United States. So, take heart. The barriers will go down. The world is coming together, and life will take care of things, whether we want it or not. So, let's take heart. Please do not worry about cultural differences. And as a cultural analyst, I shouldn't be talking about that. I should be telling you that this is not the way to the way to make money for me. But nevertheless, I'm telling you, don't be afraid of anything. Even if you don't understand anything, the best parts of your national character will carry you through. Jen, remain the best member of the community, because those girls who sold beads for you to come, it will pay off for you and for all of us. So that's it. Thank you very, very much.
I want to know how high are your heels. Oh my gosh. You know, here's the thing. I grew up in New Jersey.